Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In this video we're talking about PlayStation 4, PlayStation 2, Nintendo Switch, and EmuELEC. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off here talking about PlayStation 2 emulation on PC with PCSX2. And PCSX2 just got a major performance boost. Now this news is really hot off the press. PCSX2 just tweeted out, Telecrinkle has just completed work on a pull request which improves threading overhead with the GS thread, meaning on Mac you get up to a 30% performance boost, Windows gets up to a 20% performance boost, and Linux gets a whopping 1% performance boost when GS limited, and GS stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or it stands for Graphics Synthesizer, depending on how you want to interpret that. To pick up the latest and greatest version of PCSX2, head to PCSX2.net, click on Download, and scroll down to the bottom of the page where you see nightly builds. From here, click your version, either Windows, Linux, or Mac. It is worth pointing out that these improvements will not be universal across every single game. It's only in certain situations here, but it's also incredible that PCSX2 is able to find optimizations even after it's been out for so long. And speaking about optimizations, next up we're talking about PS2 emulation on Android with Aether SX2. All hail the blue cube. Aether SX2 also just got a brand new update, just not the version that's on the Google Play Store. If you're okay with picking up a testing version of Aether SX2, one where things might not be working as anticipated, then head to aethersx2.com, click on Downloads. Once you are here, click on Close Testing Alpha, click on the top folder, and you'll see the brand new version right at the top here. As of filming, it's version 1.5-3373. Generally, I recommend sticking with the Google Play Store version of Aether SX2. It's considered tested and stable. But if you're aching for some possible better performance and possible better features, and you like to test out the latest and greatest versions of things, well, pick up the latest and greatest testing version of Aether SX2. We might have some performance improvements here, we might have some bug fixes, and we might have some brand new features. Moving on, and we're talking about PlayStation 4 emulation with FPPS4, and FPPS4 just had a major breakthrough. They were just able to render their first 3D game. If you want to see this up in action, I'll leave a link to Brutal Sam's YouTube video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. You can see the 3D rendering up and running, and it's not necessarily the best, but at the same time here, this is a major breakthrough. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of 2D games up and running, 41 games in total, 28 retail games, and 13 homebrew for FPPS4. Next up, we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation on PC with Yuzu, and Yuzu also just got an update. The development team has been very busy these last few days. Mainline build 1257 fixes some issues with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Early access build, that's the paid testing version, partially fixes some Xenoblade Chronicles 3 issues. On top of that, mainline build 1258 was just released, and this updates some Vulkan stuff that might break some Vulkan shader caches. So it might take your computer a little bit just to rebuild those, and you might notice a slight performance hit until those are completely rebuilt. And it also fixes Splatoon 3 when it was stuck loading with a network interface selected. And moving on from Yuzu, we're still talking about Switch emulation on PC, but switching over to Ryujinx. And Ryujinx also received a ton of updates. Like Yuzu, Ryujinx issued an update that fixes some stuff with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, as well as Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And this one is pretty awesome. Version 1.1.413 adds a save manager to the Avalonia UI under Options, Manage User Profiles. It allows for easy file deletion and quick save folder opening. Now, at the time of filming, version 1.1.415 is the latest version of Ryujinx, and if you wanted to test out the Avalonia build, you absolutely can, but it is still in development, and things might not work as anticipated. To check it out, head to ryujinx.org, click on Download, and then scroll down to where you see other builds and click on it. It'll bring you to their GitHub page, and you can see Test Ava for Ryujinx Linux and Test Ava Ryujinx Windows. And to make things easy for you, I'll just leave a link to this page in the description below and feel free to check it out. And last up here, if you've got an Amlogic device, you'll be happy to know that EmuELEC version 4.6 was just released. This is a pretty big update, and I'll leave a link to this page in the description below in the event that you do want to check it out. There are a whole bunch of bug fixes here, and I'm talking about a whole bunch. On top of that, updates to some emulators were incorporated like DuckStation, and there's a new feature here, cloud loading and saving for RetroArch. And as a bonus piece of news, if you remember in a previous video we talked about the Smash World Tour being cancelled thanks to Nintendo and quite possibly Panda. Well, Ludwig here doesn't really agree with that cancellation and decided to run a tournament of his own. The tournament is going to be called the Scuffed World Tour. It's a one-day Melee and Ultimate event, Sunday, December 18th, featuring the highest placing Smash World Tour competitors, all with a goal to raise money for VGBC. And if I scroll down just a little bit, there's a $50,000 prize pool. In my opinion, this is a really cool thing that Ludwig is doing, and the only thing to really make it cooler, if you could actually make it cooler, would be to run the tournament solely with emulators. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a ton today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.